Let's talk about the tilt coaster. Like, sit down and have a serious conversation about it. I have no idea if this model is going to be the best thing to ever cross the amusement industry, or be better than a B&M dive coaster let alone, but I feel like this is the most promising model that's on the horizon right now. I know there was one already built, but the new gen tilt coaster feels completely different and looks completely different than the old gen tilt coaster, which we will talk about later in this video, so let's just get straight into analyzing. Well, first of all, what is a tilt coaster? Well, it's a coaster that tilts, literally. It's made by Vekoma, a manufacturer that is known to make the worst contraptions in the world. However, it's a new gen Vekoma, so it's probably going to be good. In fact, very good. Vekoma has been on a roll with their recent additions and have proved themselves to be on the level of B&M and Intamin in terms of innovation. But I already went over this in another video. So the tilt coaster tilts. It's like a B&M dive coaster in a way. It has a super gimmicky first drop and the layout that follows. But in this case, a coaster train rolls up to a piece of track, the piece of track rotates 90 degrees, and then it drops you vertically down or whatever you want the drop angle to be. I think you might even be able to go beyond vertical, though I am not too sure, but you could definitely do a twisted first drop, which is unheard of on a B&M dive coaster. I truly believe this is a better trick than what B&M has to offer and will offer a more thrilling experience. The tilting looks like it builds so much more suspense compared to being held on a holding brake, and it honestly looks really cool and much scarier from afar. Now, the tilt coaster looks to be one of the more promising models coming out. The only model that could rival it is the Axis coaster by S&S, and this might be a very close competition, but only time will really tell. One thing that I can tell you is that the tilt coaster is going to scare the GP, and that's absolutely perfect because it will be a good seller to parks. And as an enthusiast, it probably won't fade me at all. In fact, I find everything but the first drop in dive coasters relatively boring. That's something that the tilt coaster improves upon a lot, which I will talk about in a bit. Now, I don't think the tilt coaster is going to open up and scare the crap out of enthusiasts. It's not. Nothing really will, except maybe a few flat rides in a janky, beat-up machine, but it will vibe with the general public so well. I mean, they already think of B&M dive coasters as the scariest thing in the world, so the tilt coaster is going to have to be 10 times better. As long as you don't live in Taiwan or China, most everyday park guests don't even know what a tilt coaster even looks like or what it is, so it will blow people's mind away whenever and wherever it opens. Next point, where and when are tilt coasters coming? Well, there's one already in Taiwan called Gravity Max, and honestly, it's pretty good. When we talk about old gen Vekoma, we think boomerangs and SLCs and straight garbage, but this is one of their better works. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's more enjoyable than some of the other contraptions that they have put together. Reading other people's reviews, the tilting aspect is hit or miss. I definitely think it comes down to the familiarity of the enthusiasts and the resistance that they have built against fear, but it will scare the crap out of the general public, and that's all what really matters. Force-wise, I have heard it's pretty good as well. Mild floater throughout the drop, good positives in the loop. The layout doesn't really matter here because every tilt coaster layout is going to be different. In this case, the layout is super short and offers good forces, but not a super long ride. That is to change with the upcoming additions though. Something specific to Gravity Max that I want to mention before we go on is there's a lot of room on the restraints here, so it's easier to feel some of the forces. One thing that I found really funny is that the operations on this coaster are terrible, like 15 to 20 minute dispatches. Minutes. Because when the park is empty, they don't dispatch the trains, so that's what caused it. That definitely is a parkside problem and definitely not a tilt coaster in general problem, but I just wanted to mention it because I found it pretty funny. Like, imagine going up to the coaster, seeing it's empty, and then having to wait 20 minutes for it. I just find that completely bizarre. Now, there are currently 2 tilt coasters under construction. One is Circuit Breaker at COTAland, and one is unknown and coming to Energylandia. Circuit Breaker has a layout and a lot more known details, so we will mainly focus on this coaster as the focal point to the capabilities of this model, but we will talk somewhat about Energylandia's coaster as well. Both of these new additions are supposed to be opening up in 2024, but I have no idea if they actually will. COTAland's progress on Palindrome has already been delayed, and the whole project is moving pretty slow, but I do have good hopes for Circuit Breaker to open up in the next year, as well as Energylandia's tilt coaster. However, there is no guarantee at this point in time. Now, the thing with Circuit Breaker and the thing with new gen Vekoma tilt coasters is the actual layout. Beyond the one-trick pony first drop, there's an actual layout. I know, right? This is the one up that the tilt coaster has over the B&M dive coaster. Circuit Breaker's first element, not counting the pullout, is a rollover camelback. This element looks incredibly unique and seems to give a decent amount of hang time. The layout then follows with 2 rolls, an Immelman, and a whole bunch of airtime hills. This looks like a super solid coaster. You could probably take away the tilting aspect and have yourself a standout already. The fact that it tilts makes it even better. This model has a lot of potential because there could be an actually good layout that follows, unlike most B&M versions. I truly believe that B&M dive coasters are one-trick ponies, so this solves my one complaint that I have with them. The Vekoma Tilt Coaster looks to have an absolutely solid layout with tons of airtime, completely unique inversions, and a good diversity of forces. And this theme is also present in Energylandia's Tilt Coaster, and it's even more insane here. There were no official details on this yet, but the tender lists the following elements as required: twisted vertical drop, triple down, twisted bunny hop, a bunch of rolls, a helix, and a whole lot more of airtime moments. If Circuit Breaker's layout wasn't good enough, this coaster definitely is. This once again highlights the capabilities of the model, and to an even greater extent in this way. I think this has a chance to be better than Hyperion and take the number 2 spot in the park. It will definitely be the best out of the trio of new-gen Vekomas though. Six Flags Qiddiya is also looking to put a tilt coaster into their park. This one is a lot more tentative and could not even happen, but it's in their concept art, so let's talk about it. I mean, this looks to be a lot more like a one-trick pony. The first drop with the tilt is the highlighting moment of the ride. The concept art does have a twisted vertical drop, but I don't think this coaster will be absolutely out of this world just because of how short the layout is with only the vertical loop. However, this coaster will be very well themed, which kind of encases the diversity of the model and what it is able to achieve. Now, what are the restraints like on this contraption? Well, new-gen Vekoma has gotten into the vest craze along with every other manufacturer, but they have been doing it better than Premier, at least. God, I hate those comfort colors. I've never been on the new-gen Vekomas yet, so with the vest restraints, I have no idea how they compare to like something like B&M vest restraints, but I had heard a lot of good things about them, especially when they are added onto boomerangs or SLCs. One thing to note is that Gravity Max had a lot of room between the rider and the vest, but that's not the case with new-gen Vekoma restraints, so don't expect it on any of the upcoming tilt coasters. So that's the Vekoma Tilt Coaster for you. I truly think it's the model of the future and the direct competitor to the B&M dive coaster, and honestly might be a better candidate. I can see parks buying this left and right and populating just as much as the B&M dive coaster has done already. It's cheaper, scarier, and has a better layout. However, it's Vekoma, so the reliability is the thing that you are losing when you take this over to B&M. I just want to take a second to mention that the other manufacturers have done the tilting aspect before. Of course, Intamin has had their shot at Escape from Gringotts, but that's in a way less dramatic manner. Jinma Rides has ripped it off 2 times with a complete layout that follows the first drop. And of course, you probably have the best tilt coaster on Earth right now, Battle of Jungle Kings, which is a different Jinma Rides ripoff that more closely resembles the Vekoma style. This is a dueling tilt coaster that is pure eye candy, but it doesn't have the most complete layout ever. It's just a vertical loop pretty much. So Vekoma is obviously not the first one to do this, just maybe the first real company to mass produce it. So there it is, the Vekoma Tilt Coaster in a nutshell. Once again, this is the most promising model on the horizon. However, I think the Axis Coaster will outshine this, and maybe we'll get around to talking about it in another video. I just think the Axis Coaster will be better, but the Tilt Coaster will be a better seller. I am so excited that one of these tilt coasters is coming to the Americas in Texas. I'm excited about any new-gen Vekoma, let alone a tilt coaster. So hopefully I'll get out to ride this coaster one day. Let me know your thoughts on this model in the comment section below, as well as just the overall video. It's been almost a month since I have scripted and recorded, and I feel like I lost the hang of things. Enough with the rant though. That's all for today's video, guys. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.